2024 and it's our first model railway show of the year. Me and the boy have gone to Prince's Risborough for the Risborough District Model Railway Club's Risex exhibition. Come and see what layouts it had in store. First up is Mothecombe in 00 gauge. This layout's become a bit like an old friend. It keeps appearing at exhibitions, but it's always a delight to see. Mothecombe is a quiet through station on a rural line somewhere in South Devon, close to the coast and Plymouth, and is operated in both GWR, SR or BR periods. At either end, 2 feeder yards feed trains through the layout. A bay platform is provided for the local push-pull service, and a small yard serves the local community. Occasionally, diversions from the main line add interest during the day. Here we see West Country class Wilton passing through the station with an express.
And the rear tender cut.
Next we move to Loughborough Road in 00 gauge. Loughborough Road is a main road running south from Nottingham through West Bridgford to Loughborough. The Midland Railway line linking Kettering, Melton Mowbray and Nottingham runs through West Bridgford, and slightly further east was the London North Western and Great Northern Joint Railway line, built to link Market Harbour and Peterborough, Melton Mowbray and Nottingham. There is no evidence that any station was proposed for West Bridgford, but it is not entirely impossible that the good citizens of West Bridgford, in 1900, a thriving and growing Nottingham suburb, might have ambitiously established a terminus for the Midland and London North Western Joint Railway, and all linked into a growing Nottingham suburban railway network. Just to the north of the imagined station is Trent Bridge Cricket Ground. The council apparently managed to find a narrow site allowing access to the station between the Paley & Co factory and what became the Midland Hotel. The station has one regular passenger platform and a small goods yard. The council are anxious to promote their town and funded a traverser at the platform end, which allows all but the largest engines to escape. This bears a strong resemblance to the GWR Moore Street traverser. There were 2 there, but the remains of only one are visible today, and no doubt was built by the same contractor. Commerce through the goods yard reflects the area. Paley & Co moved their boots and shoes to their other locations. Gunpowder vans deliver explosives to local mines, and there seems to be an awful lot of large beer kegs. For some reason, a daily Lancashire and Yorkshire train delivers fish and fish products from Fleetwood to the cod liver oil factory. And now our linguistic skills are really put to the test as we move to Poland. Well, I've got to admit, I've never seen a Polish layout before. The boy was very excited as he seems to have got quite an appeal for Polish trains recently. I'm not quite sure where that came from, but coincidentally there was a Polish layout and he was very happy. This is Tamzynowo Wik in HO scale. The layout is loosely based on the Polish station of, and I'm going to try this pronunciation, Saskarska Poreb Gona. Apologies if I got that drastically wrong. The station is one of the highest located stations in Poland on the border of Chechnya and Poland on the line 311. Despite some additions on the either side of the station boundaries, the layout imitates the real station's track setup and signal system prior to modernisation in 2013. The station buildings are out-of-the-box plastic kits with added weathering and interiors, as well as both internal and external lights. The platforms are equipped with items such as litter bins, benches and concrete flower beds, typically seen on numerous police stations for the last half of a century now. It has now grown to an almost 8-metre long, multiple module station layout, with further parts being added as testing grounds for a level crossing, a pond, rock formations and a bridge section. The layout is equipped with realistic replicas of original Polish catenary system, as well as street and platform lights, signals as still seen in Poland even now. The layout buildings and equipment allow for layout operating from 1970 till even now. We move to Silverbury in OO gauge. The idea with Silverbury was to create a modern image layout on the Great Central Railway, if it had been made 4 tracks into London after the First World War, and if Beeching had not closed the line, but instead reduced it to 2 tracks. What would it have looked like? Silverbury is a combination of Silverstone and Aylesbury, a what might have been layout. The period modelled is BR Blue to the present day, and to achieve this, the operators are producing interchangeable buildings and industries which can be dropped into place. Silverbury is placed at the edge of both Network South East, BR Blue, and Children Railways, Network Rail, so many trains would terminate at this point. It is also a main line for long distance and cross-country passenger, and through freight trains. This is to create plenty of interest for both operators and viewers. We watch over is a Class 20 in large logo grey rail freight livery shunts an EWS branded VGA van into one of the sidings. Meanwhile, on the main line, the Freightliner branded Class 57 passes through the centre roads with its own rank of VGA vans. The layout has lots of features to keep viewers entertained, including a working roadway in the distance behind the station. With its shunting duties finished, the Class 20 heads back towards the depot for refuelling. And not only is the layout an imaginary what-if scenario, so are some of the trains. Here comes a modified Class 165 into a single car unit in what could only be described as a 167? I have to say, I actually quite like it, and it would be quite suitable for the Aylesbury branch in today's real world. In the opposite direction, a DRS livery Class 57 thunders through with a car train. A little while later, and we see a Class 37 moving into one of the stabling roads at the depot. Meanwhile, on the main line, there must be some sort of signalling issue, because the Wrexham and Shropshire Class 67 in the platform is staring at the rear end of an engineer's train just in front of it. Hopefully, they'll get things moving soon. Well, the problem seems to just affect one road. 66209 passes by with a ballast working. And now we move on to a little bit of narrow gauge. This is Mellin Parva. It is a small narrow gauge line modelled in 016.5. The layout was originally built by David Simmerman, but is now operated by the Risborough District Model Railway Club. A railway station, a boating wharf, and a sunny day in the 1950s. What else could be needed to complete this idyllic scene? According to the owners, nothing. And I agree. As we look over the layout, a goods train arrives into the yard.
Don't go too far.
As it arrives into the yard, another engine is taken off shed and onto the turntable, getting ready for its next turn of duty. Now, if any of you have been to Whipsnade Zoo, you'll know that there's a railway there. And what's even more fantastic is someone has built a 009 gauge version of it. And having been to this railway several times, in fact, I worked at that zoo, not as a zookeeper, but I did a little bit of painting there in a previous life. I can tell you that this is a superb representation of that little line. Absolutely spot on, particularly this scene here. And of course, with it being based at a zoo, there's all sorts of wonderful animals to try and spot. I particularly got the giraffe going for a drink. Now, as we were going round the exhibition, I was getting a little worried, and that was, I hadn't seen a Great Western themed layout. Well, fortunately, there was one at hand to save the day. This is Tremierten, and it's in N-gauge. Tremierten is an imaginary ex-Great Western branch line terminus set somewhere in Cornwall in the British Railways Western Region period. And it uses the gauge mast system of remote uncoupling. And I've got to be honest, watching it was absolutely fantastic. Very smooth, very impressive. The name Tremierten is actually an anagram of retirement, as the layout was bought, part built and completed by the owner after they retired of 40 years working with the British Telecom. If you liked pannier tanks, then this layout was for you. Here's one working on a auto coach, coming into the station and quickly setting down passengers and picking new ones up before departing off scene again. A little while later, and a goods train arrives at the station in the hands of yet another pannier tank. I'm not complaining, I love pannier tanks. If you pay close attention to the bunker, you'll see the wonderful uncoupling system. That is quite impressive. I'm trying to put something like that on the boys' layout, but it hasn't worked as well. In fact, it's been a complete disaster. But I'll get onto that at some point. Here the loco goes into the head shunt before the points are changed, and it runs round its train in readiness to shunt the wagons into the goods yard.
The dock's extension at the far end, as it were, that was his lockdown project. That was 18 months.
Next is Glenridding Lane in 00 gauge. It's a 1960s industrial steam. Glenridding Lane is the owner's first attempt at an exhibition layout and has been ably assembled by members of the Hemel Hempstead Model Railway Society. Set in the late 1950s to 1960s, Glenridding Lane is a fictional industrial passenger freight terminal set somewhere in the south of England. There is a large presence of William Stroudley A1 and A1X Terrier tank locomotives. The layout operates up to 10 of these locomotives. William Stroudley was the chief engineer for the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway. The main section of the layout is set in an Inglenook setting with one main inbound-outbound line, a spare yard siding line and one warehouse siding. Well, sadly we come to the end of the exhibition. It was only a small one, but what a one to go out on. This absolutely gorgeous layout is Pentrefan by Mike Morley, and it's EM cage. I've seen this once before at the Milton Keynes show, and it's absolutely superb. You must go see it if it is at a show near you. It's the Cambrian Railways made something of a habit of rescuing lost causes. No run-down tramway, ill-conceived minor railway or underfunded branch line was too far past the point of no return to be denied shelter beneath the Cambrian's umbrella. And this line is no exception. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, then please click the like button. If you want to make a comment about the layouts, then please do. And if you want to subscribe, then feel free to hit that button and the notification bell so you can keep up with my channel and any other exhibition videos I'll be doing in the future. I do hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching.